easier now than ever. She has that hypercharge that she has to earn, sure, but really I'm talking about the fact that she has longer range now by a few units there, and this has been a major change to Penny that's made her a lot more viable kit selection out now. From FA Kozaki, a very team-focused support brawler, can get them a good counter to a thrower if necessary, and also can be extremely frustrating to deal with if your team Heretics with that closing around the left side. Thankfully though, I think Eve should be able to hold down the fort. She won't be too vulnerable. She can jump away. Obviously you don't want to leave Drage for dead, but there are countermeasures available. Kit still, I think, should be viable.
A Kit over Gus, you know, and sorry, we need to now talk about this. Poco over Gus? No Gus? I don't know. Like, that seems very odd to me. I mean, the synergy with the Kit, I'm just trying to kind of see what the plan is there. I mean, like, yeah, you can disable a player and keep them static and allow maybe the RT to creep up and use the leg form to just instantly eradicate, or maybe a Penny turret might be able to lock on during that time, but it's a very small window of opportunity. And the Poco is just a brawl that I haven't seen here for the longest of times. I really don't know, like, what is behind this idea. I mean, I certainly not in places of a Gus, but I mean, you know, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. It's just not what I was expecting in any fashion. I mean, maybe it's a response to the Kit is my only consideration there, and trying to, you know, just give quick, immediate heals, but I'm not too sure about this.
Well, we have world finalist Brawl Stars player, repeat ones, consistent ones at that, who have made the decision that Poco is better than Gus in this situation. And I think I'm going to follow their lead here. But we still need to see how exactly this maths out, because there's not an optimal matchup for this Poco over here. Maybe his gadget will be of use to them, but
exactly the
for
gadget.
now it's not really doing much.
It's the only thing that makes sense really, is that the protective tunes to really sort of eliminate the stun from the Kit. But is that worth picking as a countermeasure? I mean, I'm still not convinced it is, but certainly for Team Heretics, they were really quite deterred by that Kit pick, and that was the only thing on their minds. Now the cardboard box screen on the left-hand side, Chaos jumps away, now attaches himself to Mavis as well. There's going to be a lot of heals, and it feels really much more like I'm with Kozaki in this affair, as all Team Heretics crumble to the enormity of this comp.
It's what you pointed out, like, yes, protective tunes can get rid of the stun, but it's not going to prevent your enemy from combining into this monstrosity of RT with his damage and also his health, and then Kit gets to do like 3k a shot with the shot that he can throw over walls. It's a tough one for them to deal with. Team Heretics now have clued themselves in and realized, okay, we got to go aggro, but they're effectively facing a fourth brawler here. Now they have the Penny turret constantly laying down this fire. It's going to be about 3k damage per shot, so they can't get hit by that. And it'll make their movement a little bit more predictable. Should be easier for Gugu and Mebius to line up the shots as it was.
For me, I think Gus would have been their shout, trying to get the early kills. The Kit's only got really one option to attach to. But, I mean, for the moment, Team Heretics have got to deal with this. And on a map that's really hard to do so. Once that Kit attaches and the aggressiveness comes into play, as long as all three members are standing for Kozaki, I think it's just like a guaranteed round. Leg form available for Gugu, as is the jump for Nob as well here. Maybe it's slow, he might choose to jump. Now the cardboard box gadget comes in, and Chaos immobilized, now pulled away. But Drage, Nob in a precarious position, but stays standing, as all three members of Kozaki do, and they get the game.
Eye-watering right there, as you pull that Kit away from your teammate, but they're still stunned. That and your Jean and Poco, you've approximately 0 damage out there. I think we are yet to really see why this Poco was selected. And it's not even just like Gus in particular. I feel like there are several other brawlers that would have been a much safer selection. A lot more of generalists and not as niche of a brawler like Poco is going to be in this specific matchup. And there's entirely the possibility that it's actually just a mistake. But it's really all theorizing. Hopefully we get to get some answers from them later. For now, what we do know is that FA Kozaki are running the show here in Knockout.
Well, if it's a mistake, A, it's unforgivable, and if it's legit a countermeasure to the Kit, which is what I think it must be, it's not working. So it doesn't even warrant the pick in itself. So it's a mistake regardless. On the right side though, invisible, Chaos jumps away, but that was a chance then potentially for Kozaki to seal that Chaos that Eve jump going to be helping out so much in that regard. And Kit detaching there, better of it. It makes a lot of sense to try to get the timings that Super then can be available later on in this match when the gas starts to close in. So I don't mind that at all from Nob there at all. But we want to see more aggression from Kozaki here going in to try to deter this inevitable outcome, in my opinion, of these moments where they're just going to stay standing towards the end. Nob goes in, and that was a mistake. He did not land on a single person, and that is given a glimmer of hope now for Team Heretics to secure themselves at least a round here.
Seeming error from FA Kozaki there, but they still managed to get some value. Penny, also with the additional damage, she did lose that final 1v2 as is expected, but she got her turret earlier on, and thanks to the bonus damage, she's going to be getting closer to that hypercharge, which she'll be trying to cycle out. That is a game-winning condition right there. Given that they had at least a couple rounds to win this game, going to be playing the long game here, thinking about getting that turret for the final round, especially a hypercharge one, which probably closer to that hypercharge than the next turret, waiting for things to close in to actually get that opportunity. And for the time being, Team Heretics have opted to take a more reduced approach with Drage, especially hanging back. If they can get a solid pull out here, that would be paramount. But Mebius is ready with the Salty Barrel, so Drage needs to find a target that is not going to get body blocked by Mebius.
Yeah, Drage does need to connect this magic hand for sure. It's gonna be a really tough thing to do because like it's so much evasive technique behind every Brawl on the other side of the field here. Now the kit attachment is there. The hypercharged turret going down from Mebius, and they really wanted that round for that reason because that's the utility they haven't got now. But they really want this set that badly to use it there. So let's see whether it was going to pay off now, as whoever takes this round for Team Heretics allows them to stay in the question. Oh, hypercharge early for Drage here, going in with the magic hand and not even going to pull one off, just simply to get some grounding on the map and some positioning. Let's see how this fares.
Yeah, it got them good position. Got Drage in a position. Now he has that he has that super ready to go. Chaos caught off guard. Now combining the Kit and Gugu together, but not really much coming of it. Kit immediately dismounting so you can get that super once again. But Heretics have these guys against the wall. Lana has a heal. It's one of the first heals that we've really seen him hang on to. So maybe we'll finally get to see that Poker make a play.
Drage still hanging on to the magic hand, but now the gas coming in. Super available now for Nob. Just the right time as the gas coming in. Gugu going to jump in. Leg form available for him as well, and he places them down. Now Chaos trying to get some taps. The heal there was clutch from Lanan as well, but now the Kit connection is there, and Drage is low, and he should probably fall down to at least the gas here, and he will. It's going to be a team wipe for Kozaki. They take the set.
2-1 so far. Kozaki leading and seemingly on the path to make this win happen for themselves against Heretics once again. But this time, Heretics don't get a second chance in a lower bracket. It's all or nothing. In a round one exit for Heretics would be catastrophic for a team looking to make a postseason run. You need to be, at minimum, getting the quarterfinals win. I still don't see the math on this Poco. He's not known for his damage, but 43 is especially dwarfed by what you see from Kozaki out here. Mebius leading with 153 damage per second, but Gugu made a crazy combo with Nob, especially as we saw in the final round of the final game, where he practically became invincible into the Gene and the Poco, who do basically no damage.
Yeah, incredible synergy from Kozaki all throughout that set there. But right from the draft, I know you both expressed some concerns. How much do you think, picking up something like a Gus would have changed things instead of a Pogo there, Ark?
That was my thought process. I know why they did it. I just feel like for me to be feeling as though that was the play, it needs to do more. I think that their thought process was that if they bring in the Poco, there's a gadget called Protective Tunes that allows them to activate and cancel out any slows, any stuns, any immobilization of that particular brawler being effective for 4 seconds. And I just didn't see any real instance of it. I mean, there was a couple of hills from Lanan along the way, but like I said, going in, I can't remember ever seeing a Poco on that map in the past. Possibly has happened, but I mean, it's certainly not really kind of like a meta go-to pick, and I think regardless, you're better off with anything else, in my opinion. But it's definitely a costly one there for Team Heretics, whatever way you look at it now, as we approach the next set. They're behind. Kozaki take the lead 2-1. Next map is going to be Dueling Beetles then, for Hot Zone being the mode. The bans being the Juju, the Stu, and the Lou for Team Heretics, and the Griff, the Amber, and the Colette then for FA Kazaki. I really quite like this map. It's very difficult sometimes though, really, if you lose that kind of positioning power on the mid. Stu being banned here by Heretics probably, yeah, indicates that the point is being with Kazaki, because that's definitely a brawler that, you know, wow, speaking of the devil, definitely a brawler which I was going to say Drake pops off massively with on Hot Zone. So banning it for themselves could only mean that the point was with Kazaki, and then they're bringing Poco first pick. I mean, is that a little nudge? What is that?
I don't think so. You know, I don't think it's any like on the nose comment right there.
Poco, Draco, maybe?
Yeah, well, yeah, Poco. I think also B. Poco B, Frank, this kind of stuff on this map. It's well known that B is just like straight up the hardest counter to Poco. Poco's always been good here, but he's always been kept away by that B. Maybe Barry Frank is what Heretics decide they're going to go for. Out heal the enemy healer. Look at this also. Colette has been banned by FA Kozaki. That is the like one true counter to Frank, because she's able to punch through all of that health. Maybe Kozaki are like trying to set this up, you know, get the Frank out here. Draco, okay, and Draco was the one that you mentioned. There are other options. I just don't love the matchup of Draco into Frank personally. I mean, it's like, it's playable, it's just not one that I love a whole lot, because Draco relies a lot on his health. He doesn't have CC, and anytime Draco's able to hit Frank, Frank's able to hit Draco. So you're feeding him a bunch of damage, you're taking a bunch of damage.
Yeah, I feel you. I think the Frank is on the minds of Kazaki here for me, regardless. So I get your point. I mean, the last stand for me on Draco is that, you know, ability to survive on with that 1 HP shielding for a while, which can deter some of the Frank smashes. Yep, this is kind of what we were anticipating would be the case. It kind of allows a little bit more of yeah, a longer standing for Draco to remain on the map when Frank gets towards that stage of low health and the hammer, you know, hammer smashes gets fewer between time. Then that's when I think Draco has a bit more survivability, but this is definitely going to be gnarly on both sides. I'm still staying really by the Berry pick for me here. I think Berry just is in such a phenomenal place. We even saw yesterday, oh no, oh no. I was going to say we even saw yesterday in the East Asia region as an instance where Berry was providing so many heals to so many tanks that we had an 803 DPS. I mean, that is the highest I've ever seen in the BSC. But now with a Kit, with a Frank, with a Poco, I mean, how is this faring the Team Heretics here? Because we've already had them suffer the Kit in the previous set. They chose the Poco themselves in the previous set, and they did not bring home the goods. There's a lot of healing and a lot of survivability here on the side of Kazaki, and the response is a melody. I mean, you can dance around the zone and try to stay on the objective, but I don't know.
I think the mindset here is probably, let's stop this at its source, because what is really enabling the Frank, he's a bit of a self-starter because he has the most health in the game, gets a hypercharge for free as he charges it while taking damage, which is one of the things that you do when you have a lot of health. But into the Poco, I think, is really the mindset. He is going to be completely helpless against the Melody. I think now he's going to be pretty tethered to that Frank. Also keep in mind that as Melody, you are not going to have any struggle at all getting your hypercharge and your super versus this enemy composition. The Kit probably is going to stay away from you, but the Frank, the Poco, you outrange them. It shouldn't be too much of an issue, but already FA Kozaki, they hold W and they spam that auto aim, because what else really needs to be done? You got so much health, so much damage on your side. The survivability is paramount.
Ooh, this is what I mean. Like, is this Melody pick going to be really enough here? I mean, now Drake's getting a fantastic positioning, and that's great for Lanal. The aggressiveness of that man never ceases to amaze me, and it's a perfect brawler for him. Don't get me wrong. It's just like, can this consistently happen? I think that for me, Kazaki have done such a fantastic job in this draft and given a real problem for, you know, Team Heretics. Despite all the healing, despite the tankiness, they are making it work. However, let's see whether they can continue to do so. It's getting very, very close here. They are in a good position for it. Nob now using the cardboard box. Invis found then by Heretics and attaching himself to Gugu, forces his way forwards. Look at the percentage with 50% apiece.
Okay, Gugu, Nob finally separated by force. FA Kozaki find themselves all the way back at spawn. Did you have another push ready to go? Nob really wants his super. Does have it now, decides to go for the stun onto Drage. Cannot execute, get the kill just yet. Gugu trying to kill him, but the hypercharge healing from iChaos is just too much to get through. And Team Heretics, no, they've already gotten this one. The only point where it looked a little shaky for them was at the beginning. F.A. Kozaki walked straight in and spammed their attacks, and it was done then. But I think it was just a moment that was required for Melody to get her super cycled out before she could start getting in and making some moves. Cutting off Poco from the rest of the team, I think, was the biggest problem for Kozaki.
IKS is so cracked. So cracked. I'm not being funny, but I kind of give that win entirely in favor of him in that match because he was bringing so many heals. The angles that he was lining and picking up with that berry pick were absolutely insane, and I think it's far from over. But he is really doing a fantastic job of just keeping everything alive. And then Lenan is that player that's always going to be going on the aggressive. I'm still reservating a little bit on this Melody pick, but as I'm saying it, he's shown me every reason why I shouldn't. Double take down the right-hand side and fantastic stuff. Look at Chaos. Already got the hypercharge available for him. I think there's definitely every chance that Kozaki can bring this back, but this berry pick really is the catalyst for me in this Team Heretics comp.
Double hypercharge out, but IKEOS and Lana can't get the kill as a result. Nob falls, and Mebius doesn't have the DPS to take it down. Pops a hypercharge, super out, but no shield on Gugu. Just trying to get that additional damage on the point. Drage staying alive thanks to the gadget, but IKEOS and Lana clean up, and they are gapping F.A. Kozaki right now by a staggering margin.
It's just how many supers is Chaos cycling? It's actually ridiculous. It's mad. He goes again straight in, gets the damage, gets the heals, and I mean, just wonderful stuff. Absolutely brilliant from Team Heretics. Was not convinced by it at the beginning at all until that first retake. That's when things really started to say, hey, this could work. Wow, unbelievable retake of things. And that might just be enough momentum to give them a bit of a big boost going into the 5th and final set, because that's where we're going with this one.
Huge stuff out here for Heretics. That matchup worked out for them. The Draco and the Frank, not really an issue, because what's happening here? Oh no, I'm taking damage from Frank. Oh no, he's gonna stun me. Wait, I've been stunned exactly where I want to be, inside of the berry healing, which is feeding him super, which is also feeding him hypercharge, which he's cycling out all the time. I mean, look at the damage and the kills here for IKEOS. Obviously, Lana leading the team with 12 kills and 610 DPS. He was nutty because it was no issue at all for him to get those notes, get the hypercharge, and go to town.
You know, when we started introducing this match, we hyped up the fact that this was a rematch. It went the distance last time they went head-to-head. We had the community predictions come in. They were right down the middle nearly, with a little favor for Kozaki here. Now that we've watched this matchup and we're heading into this 5th match here, how accurate do you feel like the community and all of this history has come to bear, Art?
It's really quite impressive for me to see that, you know, Team Heretics have fought back in that set. I didn't see it necessarily myself. I think considering just how much of a blunder there was in that knockout set, I wasn't sure that was going to be the case. I think even looking on the faces of the players themselves, they weren't convinced actually even going into the set, despite it looking very convincing as to how the draft actually prevailed. But I mean, you know, like I said, I was actually not a fan of the Melody pick, but I'm much more to it now that I've seen that Lenan's stats were just phenomenal in that set. I just felt like it maybe wasn't the best of the brawlers there, because I think the berry, I mean, was doing, for me personally, more. I mean, maybe the stats didn't say the same story, but I think that Chaos really was the man of the moment there for me. But how this 5th and final set's going to go, I don't know, honestly. I've seen both sides, you know, displaying some fantastic work, and both sides as well, you know, displaying some moments of in my opinion, weaker drafts. I would say it's happening more so though on the side of Team Heretics, and I wouldn't be surprised if Kozaki bring this home, and that would be one of the biggest upsets we've seen all weekend if that happens.
It's time for some last stop action. First selection now coming out from Team Heretics. Things to look out for. The strong mids, definitely a direction you should head with your first selection, unless you're going for something that's more of a flex. And also got to be wary of keeping your mid safe from some of those bushes that encroach on the left and right of the map. If you're mid, you're probably pocketing yourself sort of towards the bottom right of the map. Looks like a lane selection right off the bat. Lola, what does she do? She does damage. That is what she does. Counterable? Sure. Worth countering? I don't think so. Just going to be good, solid damage, and also a way to scout out some of those bushes.
Such an important draft now for Team Heretics, who in my opinion have definitely got more pressure on themselves. I mean, when you go back to the history of this very matchup, of course, in the qualifying stages, despite Gugu not being on the roster when that was the case, did get the win. This is what the matchup was when Kozaki qualified for this monthly final, knocking Team Heretics down to that lower bracket, forcing them to have to then fight it out against Reply Totem to get here. Now, with everything that happened between last year, between Gugu and Drage, and it's all come full circle. A lot of pressure now for Team Heretics, the biggest of roster announcements we've had in Rostermania, all depending upon draft. Pearl coming in now for Kozaki. Quite like that pick. I think when it comes down to that lane side, really tough to penetrate through. And the Gus, you know, I mean, Pearl's already tanky as it is. Combining a Gus shield to her is just, oof, dirty stuff. I like, though, the Lola. Very underrated pick that I think is really finding a nice spot and some maps. Look at Lenan as well, just giving a little bit of a side there as well. It's pressure. It's pressure that I don't think Team Heretics themselves expected to have at this stage of the competition.
Well, look at how disjointed this is between Heretics and Kozaki. Just the contrast. Kozaki, they're playing from home. Team Heretics, they are in the compound, in the jerseys, in the chairs, logos everywhere, camera crew are filming them, and they are expected to win. They cannot trip up at just the first obstacle. It's not really what you want to be showing the org. And this isn't me reprimanding them. This is me telling you what is going through their heads right now. Leon, now selected by Team Heretics. This one went through my head just a little bit with that Pearl selection from FA Kozaki, because I was trying to place why exactly was this selected. And Leon is very much countered by Pearl. Maybe they didn't want to give this to Kozaki.
We've seen that kind of idea, though, and a lot of the time, is it worth the strategy? You kind of want to give yourselves the best possible chance rather than try to spin a draft, taking brawlers away from your opposition. But Leon, I mean, these ideas and drafts from Team Heretics, sometimes they work, but sometimes they don't. That's the problem with this. I'm kind of more with Kozaki. I think that the 8-bit is a good pick here. Can be susceptible, though. That's the problem. The Gus for me and the Pearl is where the kind of glue is on the side of Kozaki here. Leon is a risk. With Lenan's hands, it could be a risk that actually really does pay off. It's definitely more of that kind of like Lenan-based brawler pick. The gene's probably going to be in Drage's hands. And if that's the case, I want to see more connections with Magic Hand that we didn't really kind of see in Knockout earlier today. And this is going to be the case. So Chaos there, the right-hand side. Again, a man that's always the supporting role. And that's what they need right now on the side of Team Heretics. So he's really got to come through for his team as well.
Not an ideal lane matchup for Leon right off the bat. Also, Mebius diffing Chaos on the right. I don't think Team Heretics really expected this at all. I mean, they went this Gene over here thinking, okay, Kozaki already picked their mid. They went for the Gus over here. Nope. Now we're going for the 8-bit. And they actually could have gone Bell and been good into both 8-bit and Pearl at the same time. I'm sure they're kicking themselves over this, because this Gene is going to do absolutely nothing to the 8-bit. It's going to come down to Chaos and Lenan to fix this issue.
That is a very, very good point. You know, and Drage gets the magic hand regardless, despite, I mean, sure, he was invisible at the time in the lollipop drop, but still, I mean, that's really a time that you want to be bringing the cheat cartridge gadget to get away from the circumstances. A massive blunder here from Kozaki. With only one gem needed now for countdown. You can't make mistakes like that. And Lenan coming from behind there, a beautiful takedown. The gems are with Drage regardless, so he can still continue to go on the aggressive. What have Kozaki done? You've got to catch it quicker than that.
That's tough right there. Nob's still going to advance forward. 5 seconds left to go. Drage at the back right. Impossible to reach. Mebius trying to line up the shots, but they miscalculated. It's a guessing game, and they lost the coin flip. Guess the left side of the bush instead of the right. But Heretics cannot be comfortable here. As soon as that final selection of 8-bit comes in, I think they knew, shoot, we just lost this draft. And that really starts to set in when you're Chaos on this, yes, on the Lola. Facing the Gus, he's going the left side this time in hopes of not facing the Gus. Nope, Pearl's going to the right side. Lena diffs him right off the bat before she can even get any of that heat fired up and get the gadget to do catastrophic damage. Team Heretics off to a good start now on this match point.
I've taken Canny for a baby, but you got to do it twice. You know, that is the thing. That was not going Team Heretics' way, in my opinion, until that moment in time. It wasn't going badly. Certainly the start was not going well at all. Drage now forced to come back as Losing his teammate there of Lenan means that he's out of position, and now Chaos falls as well, meaning that he's going to be even further back and under pressure, allowing Gugu to get back into a good spot on the right-hand side now, but he's being a bit cautious, actually, maybe overly so on this right-hand side, popping the gadget there as well. IKS will burn then and be visible in that invisibility shielding, popping the ego as well. Does tank it, but still goes down. Some big beams there from Nob. The Gems deficit now being claimed back by Kazaki, and a huge cookie popper there from Mabius. Gems shot, they've been picked back up again. IKS taking no chances in that regard, but ooh, this is looking shaky.
Drage has this pull. Who's he going to go for? Got to scout out Gugu, find his position. Is he worth pulling? He's got the shielding. He has so much health. If they can get him down, then maybe it's worth pulling just to enforce a 3v2. Mebius on the left side is giving Lana a hard time. See at mid, Nob keeping up that pressure. So much damage at range. Down goes Drage. IKaos with a kill, but also a fall on the left. Lana goes down. IKaos with 9 gems, completely encircled. He decided to risk it all. Drage now coming in. Gugu taken down. Nob now getting as many gems as he can. That's enough. No pull for Drage, and Nob gets to safely teleport all the way to the back lines with the countdown.
Hypercharge from Lenan, top left-hand side, but can he find anything to get close enough? I don't think so. There's too many bodies there, and Gugu as well being a big, heavy deterrent of that fact. Hypercharge pop. No way! Team Heretics is going to be able to get close to these gems. It's going to be going the distance. It's a match point scenario there. You know, Drake's trying to bait out the pull. I know what he was trying to do there. He was trying to make the 8-bit go prematurely, and it did not happen. The hands were just kept cold and still. Hard exterior on the side there of Kazaki. And again, you know, this is what I'm worried about. It's not looking clean for Team Heretics. They're depending upon mistakes being made by Kazaki. And Kazaki there played it much, much better. Gotta play it much more cautious, in my opinion. But get that balance between aggression. Gugu there being a good, heavy tankiness side on that right. And Lenan's gonna have to try to get rid of him earlier. He pushed up so deeply in that last game, it just was a problem that they couldn't take care of. Drake missed that pull as well, leading up to things, and that was quite costly.
Gugu's popped 2 gadgets in order to win the lane on the right. And, well, the saying goes, win lane, win game. Drage pops a gadget. Look at that. He's already used every single one of them. And he hasn't gotten a super just yet. So far, gem score equal. Nob looking to get in position to get number 3. Doesn't really want to feed that pull, but also knows that he should be safe from it. I'm assuming the wounds of game 1 have not yet healed. It's not been long enough. Drage and IKaos now moving in. Grab gems number 4 and 5. Soon to be 6. Nice. IKaos won that lane on the right. Nicely done by Lana as well. Circling around the left side. Much better start from Team Heretics in what looks like in many ways a losing matchup.
Great timing there for the gem spawns. Honestly, there's like 4 gems that they were able to establish by going on the aggressive, by getting that positioning. And the hypercharge now from Lenan desperately needed going in. The cheat cartridge there will force back, then not to the damage booster. But that allows the pull to connect with Gugu finally for Drage. 9 gems, 1 more coming in. It might be enough time as long as IKaos and Lenan are there for the support. They'll be so cautious of Mabius now. He might be able to pop a gadget at just the right time. They can't even force this gem. There's too much pressure. Not below, however, if he goes down, might open a little bit of a door. The moment is Kazaki who are fighting so hard to delay things, but it might be the inevitable running away from them.
Drage with the hypercharge out, looking for number 10. Nob focused on Lana. Pull on a Nob. That's the final nail in the coffin. Just 10 seconds to go. Drage, the president. Protect him, put him at the back at all costs. Mebius pushing in, has that super ready to move. Nob with the hypercharge, closing in, super down. Could line up the shots on a Drage for the countdown eruption, but it's not gonna happen. 800 health keeps him alive, but not a confident one at all. A look of relief. Sighs coming out. And Lana, take a rest, man. You need it. Clutched up in that final one on the Leon into tough matchups for the entire Heretics squad. Just like that, I imagine the remainder of the year, the entire precedent that they set with this match flashed before their eyes as they were just 1 game away from losing their very first match as Team Heretics.
Scary swap for any team to be in, especially scary because, as you called out, Reddy, their whole organization is in that room. So I can hear you guys reacting to the exciting end of that match. I cannot imagine the energy in that place, Reddy.
Oh, I mean, goodness. I picture for the staff of Team Heretics, they're like, yeah, let's go. Semifinals next, right, guys? And we see iChaos, we see especially Lana and Drage just sort of, they're like, whew, all right, let's, it's a good thing we got another couple of quarterfinals ahead of us because I'm going to need to take a walk outside real quick.
Yeah, taking a look at the bracket there, we'll let Team Heretics take a little walk too, get a breather, because they've got a rally. They're going up against Humble in the semifinal. But, like Reddy said, we've got 2 more quarterfinal matches to get through. Foot Esports and Team Electros coming up next, followed by SK and Parpara Supermassive. So, gentlemen, we have so much to get through here. EMEA is bringing all the fire that you promised. But, Ark, what are you looking forward to most?
Oh, the second half of the bracket, first and foremost. I'm still recalling off the back of that last series because honestly, what a rivalry that was. I mean, what a back and forth. What a story that is no doubt going to develop into the year. But, you know, I mean, judging how Team Heretics were playing there against the world champs, I mean, I'm going to save the conversation for when we get to the semi-finals. But certainly, I don't have the biggest of hopes from what we've seen so far that they're going to be able to make the grand finals here today. But I cannot wait to see what today has left in store for the lower half of this bracket stage. Plenty more still to come, and it's such an exciting region. I'm here for it.
Well, the community has awarded Lana MVP for that matchup. Let's take a look at the replays and see just why. We'll be right back with more Brawl Stars.
It was LCQ, and I think some guy from Latam did crazy thing on Max, but I don't know who. But I remember it was very good, very good. I think Joker missed this shot. Yeah, they were 1 ahead and Joker missed that. Yeah, I remember this. Yes, it was on the World Finals. On this, I think Pekka missed his super and they lost by this. I think this is it. It was World Finals 2024.
Welcome back to the 2025 Brawl Stars Championships. We're in the very first of many EMEA monthly finals. We gotta start the year right, and all of these teams are looking to make a great impression. Speaking of great impressions, we got more of our great casters back, switching around once again. Ark and Trav now joining us as we head on into Foot Esports versus Team Electros. Now, teams we know a lot about, teams you're all familiar with. What jumps out at you as we dive into Foot Esports that we want the people to know here, Trav?
I mean, they are, as the players, the 2023 World Champions, which is a big thing, but they weren't as successful in the previous year, still chose to stay together in 2025, so they've got a lot of gameplay under their belts as a 3, so you'd think in reality they should be one of the best teams coming into this year, but definitely had a few struggles here and there, and not looking as strong as they once were, in my opinion. Still, I have full belief that they should beat Team Electros, fairly convincingly I might add as well, but I'm feeling a little bit of a, I don't know, I don't feel as confident in them as I used to.
Ark, in your agreement?
Yeah, for me, I think it's great to see FUT Esports coming back to EMEA. You know, they dabbled a little bit out in South America with the roster of Motep, Pekka, and Jubilee, and that didn't work out in the World Finals. They didn't make it out of the group stage. Now coming back to the European region, I think it's a fantastic thing to see. For me, you know, Zeta Division didn't have the best of World Finals, nor did they have the best of qualifying stages either. They had, you know, 3-2-3 scorelines going through the motions. Sigma Boys, I mean, again, a roster which no one really ever expected a Brawl Stars World Champion team of 2023 to run into issues against, you know. Then again with Papastu, the team that we're going to be seeing later on today, Papara Supermassive, they struggled. That was the team that pushed them down into the lower bracket and forced them to play against Gugu. And I mean, it really was not clean in their qualifying stages. And I agree with Trav, like they haven't looked really like their former selves for a while now.
Well, nothing like a new year to kick those resolutions in and see if they're able to pull it back. But they've got to get through Team Electros to prove it. Now, this team, not quite the same resume, but plenty of reasons to be scared of them here, Art.
Absolutely so. I think Electros have got an opportunity ahead of themselves here, which if they can just sort of capitalize down on, could go their way. But I mean, in terms of experience, a lot less. You know, Rama's had 14 monthly finals. This would be his 15th here today, but he hasn't won any. None of the members of the team have actually ever won a monthly final. Enraged and Refresh, some fellow Brits, and that's a fantastic thing to see. Really, really proud of that fact for sure. You know, Rama's just been dancing around over the years a little bit. You know, he had a lot of success back in the days of, you know, VN Esporting with Mavis and Nob, and, you know, was former FUT Esports from last year, joining that roster later on within the year, but hasn't really ever sort of found his placement for me in like his career. Not really. The best of that really came from, you know, BN Esporting. Enraged, you know, had 2 monthly finals last year, but I mean, it's a bit of a mismatch of people coming together, trying to make the most out of something. And, you know, when you're up against a team like, you know, FUT Esports that have got a world championship under their belt, I mean, even that is going to be enough, regardless as to what state they're currently playing in as a squad. They should be okay to come out on top here.
Well, taking a look at the map pool, taking a look at the game modes, I do want to continue to dive into this because, again, so much coming in favor of FUT here. But Team Electros, as they've come together, there's a reason they chose each other, a reason they looked each other in the eye and said, I will battle alongside you. Any guesses to what some of those reasons might be, Trev?
I think it's the same as Ark said. I think he's always struggled to find a home, you know, like somewhere where he wants to settle down and really play with people. So I'm not saying that these guys, Enraged and Refresh, are kind of like leftovers, but I think that's kind of technically what they are, really. It's kind of like his last resort of high-tier Brawl Stars. Like, they're the only players who can really compete and get to monthly finals that were left, so it's kind of like, we'll jump in with you. I don't know if it would have been his first pick, but I'm sure after getting to the monthly finals, he'll be pleased with what he's gone with.
You got to remember playing with Naui and Garu for years, and then leaving that squad was what allowed then Zeta Division to go off and do the best of their career. You know, that's the underlying little feature here that, you know, actually, you know, when he left the squad was when that squad got better.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw our predictions there flash up along the bottom, all in favor of FUT. A lot of that has been to do with the history here, but getting into this match, what are we expecting to see on this first map? Little showcase, little Brawl Ball trap.
Well, 81% is in favour of FUT Esports, which I think is pretty accurate. 80-20 is probably what I'd give about this this prediction in terms of matchups. But Sneak Fields, it's a map with a lot of grass, good amount of walls, so you expect kind of close range, mid-range brawlers to be able to excel here. Something with a bit of range down the mid's fine, and definitely if you pair that with stuff that can break open the map, it still works as well. But yes, a lot of aggression should be coming out here, which I don't think really favours one team or the other in this matchup. But I'm sure FUT Esports will be coming into this one pretty confident. I think that's for good reason.
Yeah, you'd hope so, for their sake. I mean, certainly it wasn't a bad attendance at the World Finals. I think I may have like put myself a little bit out there on that front. I mean, it was a 2-3 scoreline against SK Gaming, one of the most thrilling of matches on that world stage, you know. And, you know, going back then, that was, you know, obviously prior to Humble raising that belt. You know, they were the reigning champions as Zeta Division going into the World Finals at that period of time. So, I mean, it really was a lot of pressure to put on their shoulders, of course, but that's the nature of the game, right? And it came down to the final wire in Bounty opportunity 2 times over for them, and it could have gone another way. For esports this year now, as the new organization picking them up, I think a chance to actually have a bit of a clean slate, a bit of a fresh start, and revitalize themselves a little bit more. They did have 2 monthly final wins last year. That's not bad going at all in what we have for what was that, a 5-month season. I think across the regions, like that was really quite a high win rate as well for monthly finals. So I mean, over the course of their careers as well, I mean, Gero, Meow, and now he's had 19 monthly final appearances, 6 of which he's won with Meow and Gero along the way. So some serious experience here on the side of esports against Team Electros, and Team Electros definitely are the underdog for me. Brawl's the map, Sneaky Fields is the mode. The draft's already flying through as well. Needs the first pick, with the bans being Lou, the Surge, and the Janet for esports. The Ash, the Griff, and the Frank banned out by Team Electros.
Yeah, good bans across the board. Need to be in the first pick from Team Electros. It's a very good pick. Hypercharge obviously makes that there a bit beefier. Pair that with the faux fur or even the stun in Brawl Ball's completely fine. And you're going to get a lot of tankiness coming through. So solid. Good mid-range, good against tanks, pretty versatile brawler on this map especially. But we're over to Esports for their first 2 picks. Now they'll be bouncing back with, I'm going to say I'm doubting tanks at the moment, considering the need to first pick. Rico's going to be a very solid shout, bouncing around these sides, even playing mid completely fine as well. And that multi-ball launcher covers a lot of ground in this grass.
Yeah, I don't mind the need to pick for that reason. It's always been a versatile brawler to have on Sneaky Fields, but like you say, it's a great tank deterrent. So despite the Frank ban being there anyway, regardless, I don't know. The esports are quite a daring team. They might still want to bring something out and just try and brute force the situation, but the hypercharge need to really elevate her quite highly into the meta now as well. So Stu, okay, for esports wouldn't have been my kind of like thought process, but certainly the breakthrough gadget is kind of where I see Stu being the most relevant here on Sneaky Fields, being able to open up to that defensive area, allow some shot through, and Juju coming through as well. Yep, absolutely. So, I mean, people forget how much of a tank deterrent Juju is herself as well, but Team Electros just really doubling down on that front. I mean, Juju's always going to be good, and ultimately, being a map with so much push, you can capitalize down on that quite considerably. So, I wonder if they're going to pair a tank with this actually themselves, because they're taking away a lot of tank ideas. I mean, sure, you can run the Vision Gear with the Rico and try and get some information on that front against the tanks, but Melody's their idea. And we've seen a big rise of Melody going into the season for sure. East Asia playing it everywhere. Still got a bit of reservation in maps where the notes are going to shine through the bush. You're not really the most assassinative of qualities, but nonetheless, I think it's a pretty decent draft so far here from Electros.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I really like the Juju. I mean, you can't hate the Juju anywhere, but on a map like this with so much grass, you're going to be able to stand pretty much in the back lines and throw towards the goal mouth if they're pinned in spawn, really without putting yourself in any danger whatsoever. And then you have the Melody to play those front lines and get those goals. I think it's really solid from Team Electros. Very well-rounded. For esports, going to round their comp out with the Draco. Going to add a tank to the mix, which I don't mind at all, really. Draco's been really coming to the forefront of the meta for a decent amount of time now, kind of just showing up here and there. Not too common, but not uncommon at this point. Pair that with a Rico and some mobility from the Stu. I think both comps are very well-rounded.
I do love Draco. It's been slept on for a while, but like you say, coming back now, and I think it's in a much better spot. I think this is a great map. If maybe not one of the best maps for it, certainly for Brawl Ball. Hot Zone, of course, I think is a slightly better mode in general, but I think it's got a real place here. I mean, running the speed gear, surely to get that attention to speed and mobility, which he is there on the left-hand side yet. Now you're going to be bringing that one in. So ultimately, for Refresh, I think he's got to be careful to not be overzealous. Utilize that ranged gap, and I think for Gero, yeah, taking that lane side is going to make a lot more sense. Try to go on the Juju a little bit more and close the gap. Rama's out of position here, goes down pretty swiftly on the left-hand side to bring the ball forwards here. Oh, Gero hits the right-hand side with it, went straight to the hands of Enraged. I'm not sure whether he was trying to find Naui or not, but I think that may have been better going to the left.
Yeah, well, Draco got 1v1 by the Grigri in those front lines, so not really going to be complaining about that too much. Rama taking some heavy fire here with Meow and Gero pinching in. Surviving for now, but Enraged respawning and coming back to this mid portion of the map. Now he's moving forwards. That's going to be dangerous for them with the amount of HP he's got and the gadget. Moving into this fire and moving the smoke and spitting fire all over them, and that is decimation from Foot Esports. They're starting this one off very strong, and a Stu hypercharge to go along with it for goal 2.
Nice and competent there, just ticking down the clock, just wasting the timer down to give less of an opportunity for Team Electros to respond, but respond they are, and Enraged has the ball, but Mal from behind just secures the kill in time. That was close, very close. Ball pushed back into the mid. The Foot should be allowed to recollect themselves now, especially with a hypercharge Gary rushing through. If he can get out behind enemy lines here, maybe even get the ball and make something of it.
I mean, the bear gets absolutely destroyed as well, and Rage going to have to go for the ball here as his teammates are going to fall. He's got fall to almost gets the shot off, but Meow shuts that down just in time. Gero kind of left in his dust there as he was trying to chase him down, but couldn't get anywhere close to him. Electros, a goal down with 50 seconds, but they've had some chances.
Yeah, they've been making some moments for sure. The tough thing now to get the ball forwards and just claim back the positioning on the situation, but I'm liking these breakthroughs here from Enraged. But with the time against them now, and Foot Esports really are closing down the gap. Oh, Meow comes in. Oh my word! Absolutely disgusting! Hypercharge to eradicate every single member! And Electros fall, the game goes the way of Foot Esports.
I mean, he cycled the entire hypercharge super and threw out another one just to rub it in their face. That was absolutely crazy from them. Great stuff from Foot Esports. And, you know, although we did see a few chances here and there from Team Electros, it wasn't because they were in control. It was because Enraged was grabbing the ball and trying to go, which is what he has to do if his team isn't really making any moves.
Oh man, that was one of the most disgusting plays of the season so far. Meow lined it up beautifully, and it was just the perfect timing. Enraged going through, finds the moment, and he's able to find the gap as well. Oh, but Esports just dropped the ball. We saw that happening in the last game, but that time round, it was Enraged that got given the gift, and he didn't hesitate to make use of it. Gary standing still here now comes back. I was a bit worried that he might be AFK there, but what a great moment there by Electros capitalized on.
Yeah, I mean, Enraged might have a chance to go again here. Hypercharge shield going to be used, moving in on all of them. And Rama's just going to grab the ball and slot it in. Electros, in 40 seconds, have managed to bounce back from that really disappointing Game 1 loss.
I mean, that's a great way to pick yourselves back up, isn't it, really? I mean, that's the perfect response. When you lose a game to just a cycled, hypercharged Rico Super, and then you come back looking that convincing. I'm looking to see that quality in teams to bounce back against the odds. Now, I'm a bit worried about Gary. His connection is still looking like it's suffering here. Now he's back, but is he really? Like, what's going on with his connection and the issues that they might be having then, maybe in the team house? But regardless, he doesn't seem like he's back for now, but does not look like it's under that much control.
I mean, the thing is, it's not like you can complain about Wi-Fi, is it? Because the other two of them are moving and they're in the same place. So
Yeah,
I don't know what excuse they'll be able to use, but Rava has a bear and Enraged has the super. We know what they've been able to do with these supers. Now he's just going to grab the ball and then make an attempt to go for his stun. Comes through though, and he's going to be surely going down. Uses the gadget to stay alive a little bit longer. Gets one, almost getting two here, but Enraged eventually does bring him down. Not without Gero getting a bit of a trade. But Refresh using this extended range thanks to being in the bush to just rain down on this left-hand side and keep me out back.
I'm looking at Enraged. You know, he's got Hypercharge now. In fact, everyone has. Rama's going to pop his first. Hypercharge Bear going through. The Juju there, the Gree as well. Everything going down on the side of Team Electros. But can they get the ball through? Enraged going on the aggressive, but Gary stays standing. Now he'll 1 HP. Can Refresh push this through? He's going to get it. He gets the goal. It gives Electros that lead. This could be a set with one more moment capitalized on.
Yeah, Gero's going to need a hypercharge to really make some moves here. Same with Meow. He can do the exact same as he did in the last one, but there's the bear again. On top of that, once more Enraged gone again. And they've left it open how many times now? They're not learning, and Electros take the set.
You can't turn your backs ever in Brawl Ball. Oh
Not
my
gonna lie.
word, that is for esports blundering it big time, isn't it, really? I mean, it was happening time and time again. Even before it happened, it was obviously going to happen. And I think a deserved set going the way of Electros. What a comeback.
That was not the way I expected Brawl Ball to go when one of the teams was called Foot. I really am surprised that they were able to pull it out here, but I shouldn't be based on how they were able to come together in that last game. I mean, talk to me through the stats here, Art.
I mean, it was looking like it was going to be Foot Esports very comfortably so all the way through, was it not? I mean, especially when you look at convincing moments like that. I mean, it was just absolutely disgusting. Look at this. Look at that. The lineup and then just like wasting it because the game's over. I mean, beautifully done by Foot. And I thought that the game to follows were going to be exactly the same in a really swift way of tying up the set. And they just really did not pay attention to what Electros were bringing. And then Rage specifically on that melody pick, which I wasn't a massive fan of. When you've got no notes, you are invisible in the bush. But when you've got those notes, rotating around your body, everyone can see exactly where you are at all times, even if you have got super. The communication is going to be like, okay, well, he's got super. Let's make sure that we keep track on this guy and don't leave the ball somewhere stupid. And that's what happened every time. But esports, really should have done better. For a team that have won world champions, world championships, they should not have let that happen.
Yeah, Trav, is there an element here that you kind of saw that was Team Electros' winning, card in this situation? Or is this Foot just a little off their game after that first game?
I mean, I think we have to mention Gero was standing still for some of it, but even when he was back, it's not like Electros, it was no different. Like, they just carried on dominating them. There was maybe one goal that went in because Gero was stood still, and obviously, it's not a Wi-Fi issue because they're in the same place with the rest of his team, and his two teammates were still playing. But Electros just seemed so in control of it after that first game. We see teams making huge pivots when they take a heavy loss, and, changing lanes, changing the style of play, and that's exactly what they did. We saw Nita running into Draco so many times, dropping the bear, dropping the gadget, stunning him, moving on, and obviously Enraged on the Melody was the number one man, just slotting in so many goals through openings that Foot Esports probably could have covered.
Yeah, do you feel like losing that first game was part of what they, what inspired them to bring such a fiery second and third game there? Would they have, been a little bit closer together had they not been so inspired by a little bit of a strength shown by Foot in that first one?
I mean, for me, like, at the end of the day, when you've got so much experience behind you and you've got a bit of disconnect, like, it should be something where the best in the world are able to maybe just prolong the inevitable a little bit better, trying to, 2v3 is never going to be a great thing, but Gary wasn't even AFK for that long, in my opinion. I mean, it was just like a little glimmer here and there, and I mean, you've got to be able to, like, look at the moments when they happen and just try to find the best way to compensate for at that time. It's one of those things that it just happens. And it's obviously on the team on their side of things, and probably now taking a bit of time in the background to try to rectify whatever's going on with that. But it's unfortunate. But you can't then just kind of like say, well, that was the entire reason behind it. I think that there was definitely other ways which they could have prolonged that and allowed then Gary to get back into the mix. And you don't want to take anything away from Electros. They played it fantastically well. It wasn't like they were just given a gift and they just got a free win. They had to earn it. They had to play it through. And I think that was what the technique was, for me at least, that it was deserved.
Yeah, I felt like maybe they felt like it had been such a Foot-focused first game that really lit a fire under them for the next two as well. So while there was some problems for Gero, there was also this huge inspiration behind Electros. Trav, did you notice anything similar, or do you think this went back to maybe some of their drafting as well?
I mean, I think the draft was good, but I don't think that's, the reason that they won. I feel like Foot Esports did kind of just switch off. It's quite easy for your mentality to waver when one of your teammates is, you've conceded a goal because your teammate's not moving. But at the same time, Foot Esports are a team who shouldn't really be letting their mentality take over what they do in-game, because they're very used to this. They've played at the top level for so long. They've won Worlds, they've won monthly finals, they've done pretty much everything you can do in Brawl Esports. They should be able to get past moments like this and bounce back, and also not leave in openings for a Melody to go and score like 3 goals.
Yes, but both of you, tell me about the Electros mentality here, because they're seeing these opportunities and they are not missing them at all.
I think when you're, not really with a major org and you're kind of like, finding yourself in a bracket against a team of former world champions, you've got less to lose. You're less pressure on your shoulders. You're looking to cause a big upset and kind of relish that and kind of rub it in people's faces. You've got to remember the history between Rama and his ex-teammates, of course. When he left the squad, or when whatever the situation was around his departure was the case, that's when he saw his former teammates go off and win the world finals, and that's always going to be something that's going to linger on. Like, regardless of who you are, I don't care, what kind of person you are, what kind of player you are. If you watch your colleagues go and do something as tremendously impossible to achieve as that without you, that's going to sting. That's going to stay there for the rest of your career, and people will then maybe look differently upon you. So Rama wants to make a statement, wants to make a point, and rightly so. I mean, he's never really been out of the game, in my opinion, and in many of our eyes. But like we said, coming into the matchup, he's never really kind of found a home in Brawl Esports since his departure from his former teammates. So I think today, he's going to be coming out swinging. Last year with Foot Esports and kind of where his place was within that squad, and moving around a little bit, it was not really the year that he was hoping for, and it was a very short season as well, to bear in mind. So a little difference there for last year to really have much of a catch-up opportunity. So once things were falling behind, there wasn't really much to be left fighting for. But on the side then for esports, being a set down now, well, who would have thought that going into the second set that there would be a set down? They're the ones that have got to fight back.
Yeah, they really are. we'll see if that's going to be the case or if Electros will carry on to running away with it. I mean, I don't know about you, Ark, but this is no UK that I'm living in. Like, I'm looking at his window and I'm like, that is definitely not the United Kingdom. I look out my window and it looks absolutely nothing like that. Way too nice. So Rage must be in another country. Must have gone somewhere to get some better ping, because we all know what the UK ping's like. But for the side of Foot, you know, they're all in the same place. They should be nice and fixed up with what issues they had now in the previous one as well. So we should see them hopefully bounce back and make this a close game, because after that first one, it was all Electros.
I mean, unless Bro's like right at the peak of Scotland somewhere, but even then, is it snowing there? I don't know, but it looks beautiful wherever he is. I suggest that be the team house, because I want to trip out there. That's beautiful, doesn't it? It really does look stunning.
Like I say, that's not what the UK looks like to me. I'll tell you that right now.
I need to hit up Enraged on Discord for sure. We need to go for a UK trip or wherever that is. But he played great. I mean, going back to his actual gameplay, phenomenal. I think that they stand a real chance in this series. With Foot Esports being a bit all over the place, the question is, once they iron out the connection issues, are we going to see Foot Esports just stomp them? You know, that's kind of what's on my mind, or maybe potentially even giving them a bit of a stirring as well, as it throw them off their game. Let's see. Going into Bounty and Layer Cake then. Draft flying through, the bands being the Ruffs, the Gene and Grey, the Juju, the Tick and the Gene. Apologies for the wait, I guess just waiting for Foot Esports to try and iron out some of those connection issues, and we're now back running forwards and then going into the second set to see what this series is going to bring.
Yeah, the Ruffs obviously kind of playing out the way, as we've seen a lot of stew coming on this map, so that might be something that they're kind of going towards over in the Electros side. If Ruffs is banned out by the opposing team, they may have just scouted some of the things that they do like to pick. They're going to take the Janet as the first one for the Ruffs. I was about to say Ruffs Esports. Thank God, my brain. What's going on?
Ruffs Esports. Roy wants to make a team.
For the Foot Esports side, we know how good Janet is at the moment. Hypercharge, really good. Drop the base has pretty much been very decent forever. And yeah, it's a very good pick at the moment. Squeak's going to come in afterwards as well. We did see this being played out on Layer Cake, Shooting Star yesterday in APAC, which did surprise me quite a lot. But maybe it's starting to have a bit more of a place in Bounty.
Yeah, Janet was picked quite frequently in these stages as well for Layer Cake too, and I think it's got a good spot, because in this map it's very, very tough when you're pushed up against the back lines, and Janet can capitalize when those low HP brawlers are susceptible to damage, especially now with the hypercharge, that additional ability to steer whilst in the air. It's just brutal, the increased damage, everything really working in her favor. I'm looking forward to seeing Ruffs Esports, by the way, in the next qualifying stage, so if anyone out there wants to bring that to the table, would actually love to see it. Lou going to come in now as well to add to the side of Team Electros with that Squeak. I understand it, the sticky residue for sure, it's always been very, very strong, but it has been tuned down over time. I mean, but look out, because once the gadget reworks are a thing and we get the timed gadgets as opposed to the instances of gadgets, again, wait for the Brawl Talk for that one to find out more information, but Rank 2.0 is going to have a big impact on Brawl Esports. I suspect brawlers like Squeak can have an incredible time in the meta. But now, it's definitely good for forcing your opposition into certain areas of the map, but I don't know whether it's my favorite of their picks, but clearly Electro's valuing it so highly as the first pick brawler Stu. Gonna join Foot Esports then in this draft forming up, but the speed zone always has been a pretty good way to get quickly into the map, but I think on this particular map it does open up a possibility as well of the other gadget being the breakthrough and having something to really open up some pathing for brawlers like the Janet, lacking a bit of range in my opinion. I think that would be what my minds would be going on this next third and final brawler, or a Melody or something aggressive. Gus, yeah, I really like that. Solid pair of hands, and great to see Gus getting valued quite highly in this draft as well. I'm liking kind of more what we see on the side of Foot Esports minus the Stu, but aggression, hey, it's never a bad thing to have.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Foot Esports comp here. Like I said, they banned out Ruff, so I don't know, like, obviously they were planning on going the Stu. I thought maybe they kind of scouted something that Electros like to go, but that's, not the case in the end, and Gus to round out that composition as well. Very, very solid from Foot Esports. Team Electros, they might be trying things out, I think maybe that's something that they do have to kind of do against a team like Foot Esports. They may have won the first set, but still these kind of wild ideas can definitely throw, really solid teams off the mark, and we see Larry and Laurie come in last as well as a thrower. Maybe try and prevent feeding these Janet supers, hypercharges, and the same with Stu as well. If you can keep him off his super, he becomes a bit useless.
Yeah, not the biggest fan of some of the draft for this map, but I mean, nonetheless, Larry and Laurie is a great pick for me. It's that Stu a little bit like the Squeak, but when I see a team pick it first, first pick, then it does give me a little bit of confidence, for sure, in the fact that they must have then a strategy, a plan, if you're valuing it so highly. But I mean, there's a couple of brawlers that I'm just surprised. Penny, for one, I think could have been a good one to consider on this particular map. Got a lot of, you know, a bit of technical turret and have some place to really enhance the pressure, especially with the indestructible walls and that kind of thing. But nonetheless, let's see how things will fare as both sides start to fill out the opposition, trying to earn some early utility. And both sides not giving too much of an inch there. Yeah, I've got a little bit overzealous and did feed over a little bit to the loop, but nothing too much to write home about, really. As, yeah, everyone's trying to make that first move not there. Also, good touch from the sweep, though. Getting some good value then, fresh on that mid, and looking to get that super. But no kills, no deaths, just the blue star in the hands of the esports.
Yeah, I mean, the Stu does have a super, but really not going to be the most useful unless he wants to try and get up in Squeak's face. But it is going to be the breakthrough, and he does use it there to get rid of these walls that Enrage is stuck behind. Still no stars flips, and honestly not that much damage done to either side, but Meow's going to take a couple more shots to the face. Gadget going to use these. He's throwing a lot further than usual. Thanks to that, Gadget jumps straight over those Squeak super shots and managed to avoid it quite nicely, but they've got them in a great position, and a Lucy will completely lock off this left-hand line, and now they start to bounce into action.
Gary went the break on a Waltz Indestructible. I guess that one Tyler Bush really is all we're going to get out of that one. As Meow takes to the skies, tries to find Robert. Robert doing a good job of shooting, gets good value there on the landing. Refresh waiting for Meow, jumps over the wall. Wonderful from him. And now he finds Refresh as well. The great defensive deterrent there for Esports is there. Rage just popping the shield there as well. Keeps his survivability in check. But, I mean, far from out of the woods, I'll put Esports still in the back lines and taking some damage as we approach 10 seconds on the clock.
Oh, what a snipe! Oh, what a snipe with the Gadget enraged low, though. Refresh going to come up with hypercharge now as well from Meow using one of his own. Refresh really needs to get the other two frozen down, but it's not going to happen, is it? Just, well, not just falling short in the end, as Meow's just wiped pretty much the entire team, but 13 there. Really, really nice stuff coming in from FUT Esports to fend off that pretty much constant Electros aggression.
Really solid. Really solid for me, because that's what we need to see from FUT Esports, is when you're placed against the back wall, an ability to hold your own and stay firm. You know, that is really quite key to see as well. Interesting to see as well the backstage pass from the Janet, because we haven't seen that for so long. It's often dropped the base, and it would have had a good place on this particular map. You'd have to place it back a little bit because of the squeak. That might be the thought process by Meow. It's like, well, to be honest, it's not worth taking much of the risk here. Oh, look at Refreshing quickly forwards. We're going to get one tap on Meow. And then Enraged couldn't quite find the angle for the follow-up here. But once again, Blue Star quickly with FUT Esports. Meow really would like to get his super as quickly as he possibly can. Enraged getting, again, that was positioned on the left-hand side, taking too many shots and forced back now, as Nowie doing a great job of holding that lane side.
Yeah, Meow can have the super, just using Gadget to get back instead of Gadget just trying to snipe him down again. And as you said, that, you know, the other Gadget is like, it always seems to be way better. I haven't seen this from a Squeak in so long, so surprising to see, but it has actually been working. Larry over the right hand side really just trying to prevent Gero getting a super, so can't really go too far up to risk giving it. And Enrage going to get a super with a Cookie Popper from now. He will keep him back, and he's getting under constant pressure now and just about misses that shot. Squeak super comes in, will get a connection, but nothing really to write home about at the moment.
Yeah, FUT Esports is where they thrive really, historically, just keeping it under control. And I would say that for me, Bounce is one of their better modes in that regard. They're very good at that, and which is why I was surprised the world's fastest season for SK Gaming, but it did have to go to a match point scenarios, so I think they're doing what they do best. With 20 seconds now, it's down to Electros again to really focus their aggression. There's been no kills or deaths in this game so far, and this game for the set for side of FUT Esports. Shielded over then is Meow. He's got super as well, waiting for the final seconds to jump to the skies and trying to find some value. Enraged is low, and this is the perfect time for Duo for it. Doesn't get the capitalization on it, coming back around again, and there's the pop of the shielding as well. Oh, it's just going to go the way of FUT Esports by a glance, a glimmer. They will take the set, they will tie it up, but only just.
I mean, it's so surprising to see twice in those situations now that FUT Esports have been pinned against the wall and no kills come in for Electros at all. It's, you know, I feel they should be getting kills in those scenarios, and FUT Esports, you know, I'm not saying they haven't done their part, because they've done incredibly well to get away from them, but 5 kills from Meow is just absolutely crazy for a Janet.
Now let's talk a little bit about the restraint that we saw from Foot Esports here. Obviously, a set they wanted to pick up and even out this whole match they have going on here, but they were able to do it without that eagerness that could lead to slip-ups here. Even in those last couple moments, able to hold on as they were collapsed upon, hold on to that aggro that they had on their side. But how did those last seconds, that very last second, in fact, play out for York?
Yeah, very crazy, to be honest, but I think always in control on the side of Foot Esports. That's kind of how it felt, and you can see as well with that Janet pick, 5 takedowns on that particular brawler's head. I'm surprised we're not seeing Janet banned actually in Bounty, considering that it's got obviously a very high win rate, very good success rate, and is bringing home the goods. Some very interesting choices of gadget in that match as well, really odd. But they all seem to have a place and all seem to work. We saw the ice block on the Lu to have that invincibility for a couple of seconds. We saw the backstage pass from Janet with that ability to jump over the walls and evade certain peril. And again on the Squeak as well with the wind-up instead of the residue. Very, very weird to see a sort of match play itself out like that and have so many different gadgets that we're not used to seeing or haven't seen for a very, very long time. But great to see that they all had a place and a reason behind them that they were getting value off the back of. So great. I love that sort of versatility in Brawl Esports. And it keeps us as casters on our toes as well. So great stuff as we approach then. Heist as our next game mode. All tied up, hot potato. And a chance for either of these two teams to creep forwards in this series.
Yeah, well, we are in hot potato, which is going to be, quite an aggressive mode, which last time an aggressive mode did seem to favor Team Electros when they picked up that Melody and started scoring goals like nobody's business. So I'm sure they're hoping that another aggressive mode's going to go their way again and they can make this 2-1, but Foot Esports just seemed too locked in and maybe a little bit better in that previous set. Definitely ironed a few of those mistakes out and played it a lot more passive, and surprisingly only dropped like 2 kills across the entire set. So I'm sure they're hoping to kind of replicate that success as the draft does start to come in. The ban should be appearing soon, and we'll get a sense of what both of these teams want to go for in hot potato.
I think you kind of have to have a bit of a heavy hand on banning brawlers like Colette, like Juju, and anything from the mid that's going to have that ability to creep forwards and just cause a great deal of damage. Melody's a must ban if you don't have the coin toss. And if you have the coin toss, for me, is a straight up first pick brawler, no questions asked. Realistically here, Buzz as well, a good spot for it, not banned out here as well, which is nice to see. Could be an option for either of these two sides. But yeah, you see the Melody ban on the side of Team Electros, and immediately for the reason, the fact that it just takes it out of the hands of Foot Esports. You don't ban that particular brawler for that same reason. So some great bans across the board. Juju banned, Berry banned, as well as the Rico, the Griff, and the Nita. Again, Griff, being banned here might imply that Foot Esports want to keep those walls up. So let's see what they're thinking as we approach their picks.
Yeah, the Crow rolls on in then for Foot Esports. I do like it. Obviously, the hypercharge unsafe is going to be absolutely disastrous if Team Electros don't manage to fend him off and keep him away, which is very hard on a map like this where there's so many walls and there's so many routes towards the safe. You have to be extremely cautious about Crow sneaking his way through the grass, through the sides, and getting towards that safe. So it's going to be hard for Team Electros, to fend them off and keep them away, but we'll see what their picks will be. Possibly a thrower might be quite good against the Crows, prevent feeding. They're actually going to go for the Lily, though, something completely opposite, more of an assassin, fairly tanky one at that as well, but it's a very good pick.
Yeah, it's been a favorite of mine in Heist, but it's been a while, I'll be honest, Yeah. It's Team Electros trying to bring back some kind of older ideas that have maybe collected some dust over time that many then, as a reason, forgotten about, that could still very much be a strategy. I remember actually, going back to last year when it was Rama and OG was using the Lily on this map, so possibly one of the strategies that's like kind of retained in his memory and trying to bring that back around full circle, as it can be really good. And my just reservation is, has it kind of been left to time for a reason? Spike coming in again, nothing wrong with it. It's kind of not too shiny. It's very solid and very, very kind of consistent in the approach of having it. We see it a great deal often drafted out and picked in the South American region, and it's always been strong, but I think it's not as flashy as some of the newer brawlers that have maybe just crept into the meta a bit more. Primo, that excites me on the side of Foot Esports, and I can sense a bit of a base race occurring here, and certainly if they want to pair it with something else along those lines, like a Buzz or something like that, it could be a bad day into a much worse one, or a Ball as well would be opposed to it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if they go double tank, then I guess Team Electros kind of have to pivot and counter out and just play the Spike on defense. Ooh, back to their roots, back to their, was it 2023 roots where they just rock this in the World Finals. It's a scary thing when you see them pick that up, because that just shows how confident they are in this brawler and how confident they are that it's going to be good in this draft. So Letros definitely have to kind of account for that and make sure that this Edgar isn't going to be able to just run riot on the spike, especially.
But back then, it was against like an Ems and a Colt. It had a reason.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether it's got the best of reasons here. I mean, Lily can just literally gadget away immediately into the realm. Cordelis, I mean, again, can just force into the realm another brawler with the hypercharge to slow. Not going to be the greatest against the Edgar. You want to stay as far away, but I mean, it can do some good work against it. No doubt about it. But I mean, I'm just kind of wondering why the Edgar, just a little bit. I mean, a Spike can do pretty good against it if it's kind of jumped on. You've got Super or you've got Gadget as well. I'm not sure. I don't mind it. I don't hate it. I don't love it.
I'm with you on that. Like, it can work, it can definitely work, and I'm sure to a certain extent it will, but I do feel like there were probably better picks than Edgar on this in this draft, and especially when Team Electros still had a last pick available as well. It's not like it was just a surprise last pick from Foot Esports out of nowhere that can counter the entire team. They do have a few deterrents to it, but we're starting things off with Naui down the right hand side. Gero's just going to try and go straight towards safe, which is going to open up a pathway through for Naui to try and make a beeline towards safe, and does get some done. He's now going to start tanking, moves up Primo into the realm to take him the damage. Oh, their safe's disappeared. I'm looking at the wrong part. I'm looking at the wrong part of the screen.
Popping
I was talking
on
about the
the
top side
spike.
for 3 seconds.
Yeah. That's the power of Spike on the save, isn't it? This is why it's one of those brawlers which, again, it's not shiny, it's not too special, it's not too meta. But if you're leaving it to a base race by bringing in a Primo and an Edgar, and you're making that statement known from the beginning, by bringing in that gadget directly on the safe, the damage you can create with a popping pincushion is crazy. And it just decimated things. And I think for Foot Esports now, they have to reconsider greatly how they handle their strategy in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Rage has got a super already as well. Edgar's going to jump on into 3 of them and get cleaned up instantly. I'm not sure if the realm was really even needed there, but then Rage is going to go in again, and now Rama's going to jump directly onto Naui and clean him up. Meow forces out Refresh's super, and honestly, I'm not sure he's going to mind that because he's done a lot to him, got rid of them. It is still 100 to 100 though, and it just seems like Foot are just completely trying to prevent this Spike getting anywhere near safe this game.
Ooh, nice from Enrage, forced the realm as well, but I think that Meow should be able to follow him and find and track accordingly. But as a Crow, your takedowns are not going to be swift against the Lily. Now back into the realm again, might choose to go to the bush this time, and then come out. Meow, yeah, Meow's going to choose the left and force into the realm again, the 3rd time, using that gadget, and he gets the kill on the back of it, now in the safe. I'm loving what Enrage is bringing to the table today, smiling as well. He knows that he did good there.
And on the other side as well, we see a beautiful play from the other guys. Refresh with a great defense. Now the hypercharge and safe might be able to survive. He does survive it. He doesn't have any gadgets, so luckily for Foot Esports, I mean, not luckily, because they've got 22% of their safe left and haven't dealt a single percent to the other side. But that was game over if he had a gadget.
Yeah, interesting choice of star powers and gadgets from both of these two teams, and the fertilize there has really kept him in place on the safe and allowed that additional ability to survive on. Now he clears up house on the right hand side, has the hypercharge now as well, and a tick down of Rama is going to see his demise now. A chance to go on the safe. Hypercharge from the Crow, hypercharge available for the Primo as well, and not even using it. There's a base race on the other side of things, and Refresh making a break for it. Going to get one shot on the safe now. Enrage trying to find a little breakthrough himself, gets the takedown. Now moving towards the safe, and now the damage raining in. And I think Foot Esports dropped the ball.
I mean, that was crazy. That was ridiculous. Like, they're not even being able to defend. They literally had 100% with about like 20 seconds of the game left. They're just nowhere near in it. And the Edgar did nothing all game. The Primo did nothing all game. The only thing they actually did was when they were left to do it, when they were left to the base race. Really disappointing stuff there from Foot Esports, in the draft phase especially, but in the game as well. Completely outplayed. Enrage showing his worth. 6 kills, 337 DPS. Refresh completely wiping the safe in the first game. And Rama doing his part as well on the defensive side for the most part, but in the closing seconds just realmed the Primo and was like, yeah, you know what, stay in the realm. I'm going straight towards the safe and finishing this game off. Brilliance from Electros, and honestly, I'm starting to doubt my my prediction now.
No, don't start doubting now. No, there's still so much left to be played here, and hopefully we get to see this go the distance because they really seem to be bringing the best out of each other here. Now, talk to me a little bit about how we got Spike into the mix. Did you expect this to come through? I saw even Ready Set's upset in the chat with this one. Trev.
I mean, it's just all. It is so sad for FUT Esports. I mean, like, the draft's not good. I don't know what they were trying to do. Like, I really do not know the aim of what they were going for. Like I said before the draft, it's not like Edgar's the last pick where you counter the entire thing, right? It's just, they knew that Electros still had a pick left and still didn't actually account for it whatsoever.
It just didn't make much sense to leave the spike on the safe. I mean, like, you know, this is basic stuff here, and a team like FUT Esports will know where they can and where they can't go on the aggressive or defensive, and they just didn't seem to care about it, and it just really came back to bite them. And they had the hypercharge on the Crow and the Primo, and they just went on the aggressive. There was 21% left on the safe on the other side of the field. You kind of leaving that a bit late, you know, and it's just going to allow Electros to make a break for it and trying to wrap things up, and it's exactly what they did. I mean, this is just really, for me, for esports, just not being themselves, not even being in the moment, making really questionable decisions that they know better. That's the problem. You can expect this from teams that, you know, haven't got nearly as much to their credentials, but for a team like them to be doing this and being behind in this series through silly mistakes, basic Brawl esports knowledge. And I mean, they deserve to be behind. And to be honest, Team Electros deserve to win this, and I kind of hope they do, because I think that this year is that year for breakthrough moments like this to occur. Knockout, Bells Rock bans in Angelo, Tig, and Gene. And the side of Team Electros, the Kit, the Pearl, and the Gus. First pick going over to Team Electros. The coin is theirs. It's going to be our team. It's a solid pair of hands or legs, whatever you want to look at it.
Yeah, very good first pick. And to be honest, I think FUT Esports are going to be glad that it's kind of calmed back down, brought back to Knockout, Bells Rock, where things should, and I say should because the draft can go whatever way at the moment. I don't know what to expect, but it should be slowed down. They should be playing things at a bit more of a range, similar to what we saw in the Bounty, which they managed to win and have more of a firm grip on. But Electros seem to be just wanting to run at them, and running at them is completely working at the moment, so I wouldn't be surprised if they try and do that again here. But they're going to go with the Bell. FUT Esports playing it, as mentioned, kind of the long game, which doesn't surprise me at all, especially with RT being selected first.
I mean, hey, you know, it's one of those things with States Division last year and the year prior to that, where we saw the break of the curse eventually, but until that moment, it was always that, you know, they would either lose in the quarterfinals or go on to win the whole thing, right? We only saw that change last year in June when they lost in the grand finals for the first time ever that they'd made it. So, I mean, maybe we're going back to that same old time, Trav, and like this is one of those moments where it's going to be a quarterfinals exit for Zeta, or rather now for FUT Esports, or if they can get through this in the semi-finals, they'll probably look better than ever and then go on the whole way. Who knows? Regardless, they've got big problems on their hands right now. Bringing in the Leon and Bells Rock, I mean, I have said it for a while, it always was historically very good here, but brawlers like Grey as well, you know, have that ability to be, in my opinion, able to be more on the aggressive, provide something to your team, some heals as well, eradicate the lollipop drop and get a bit of a break at the same time. It's there you go. This is why you get me on these shows.
I will say if I hadn't just watched Linane win with Leon in Gem Grab, then I'd be a bit more concerned about it being picked up here by FUT Esports, but clearly it's proved its worth, you know, in the meta, kind of at least. So I'm not entirely going to be hating on it. I don't mind it at all, but the lollipop drops really aren't going to be lasting too much, and kind of, unless placed behind the unbreakable wall, which I'm sure he's probably going to do if he uses that at all, then, you know, Grey's going to be getting a free wall break, and Juju as well. I mean, this is lining up great for Electros.
Great poker face. Gotta give that to FUT, haven't you, really? I mean, yeah. I want to see Garrett's face now as well. Give me meow. I want to see how.
Let's see the rest of them.
Yeah, go on. Can we change cameras? I mean, let's be honest. This is not looking great. You know, not looking good, bro. Not looking good. Third and final pick, Sprout coming through for FUT Esports. I mean, it's hard to get excited for it. You know, it really is. But ultimately, it's in that stage of the draft where, you know, it's able to be picked without too much concern. But they're picking it into a Grey. I mean, that's a prime candidate of a brawler that can just come in, swoop in when you're low and unable to defend yourselves at the best of the times. So, I mean, I've got to question it. It's not a bad brawler to have here, not by a long shot, but I mean, you're already looking into the eye of the storm. I mean, it really is not, for me, the time to bring it in. And I think this is a loss. I mean, I don't want to say chalk it up right now, but I mean, the way that Electric's been playing, capitalizing on the mistakes of Foot Esports along the way and drafting really, really well. It's hard to see Foot Esports take this to a fifth and final set.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Sprout's fine for me. They needed a thrower, I think, to be able to put any fight up against Juju at all, and Sprout's kind of the only option. He's going to have decent range as he's doing right now when you bounce it off that wall, and going to have it veer towards them rather than throwing the straight shot. And the pinching ability is going to be great as well, because you kind of got to step a bit further back as the Juju, right? Like Rama's doing. And yeah. In that point, listen, I don't know her range to like bang on, but at that point, I'm not sure you can really pinch the lanes too well, like even reach Meow here either. So it's not the worst of picks for the Sprout, I don't think, and Juju has to play a lot further back than I'm sure she'd like to.
Yeah, it's going to come down a lot to Enraged. I think he's got to get that TP very quickly, as best he can, to assert some authority, and most importantly, stay on his feet as well. Now he gets some taps. As it's refreshing the right-hand side. Now Garo goes in the aggressive. There's Walking Kane as well. Nice gadget there from the lollipop drop from Garo. Goes into mid. Low HP though. It will fall. 3-2. And now a lot of pressure on Meow and Naui. And Ray stays standing. Lovely Walking Kane yet again. And now he's got nowhere to go but to the dust.
We might be in for a bit of an upset here.
Yeah.
Second by second, I'm starting to see Electros really put in some work. That invis was great, by the way, to get Meow down, to get Gero down there. Sorry, it really was a very good play. And Gero, you saw he tried to just kind of like kill himself and take Rama along with him because he knew he was going to die, which was a good shout, but just didn't really manage to get the shots in. Meow's going to throw a wall down, and Juju can still reach you there, but he's not in any shots, which I'm sure he's going to be pretty pleased about, throwing it kind of in the middle of everyone. Refresh marked on the right hand side, not going to be the easiest play against Naui now.
I mean, I hope we see an upset. I really do. These are the moments that I live for in Brawl esports, you know, and at the moment, Team Electros are doing the unthinkable. They deserve to be doing so as the rage goes in. Naui Loba survives on 68 HP with a helping hand of Meow, who's got the hypercharge now. Wall to the right-hand side, blocking then off the RT. Rama in the mid has got a lot of work to do. He needs to get a gree really here, but low and tapped up as well by both Meow and Garu. Be a tough thing to bring this back. They're going to try for it now, thinking better of it, going into the gas and trying not to feed too much along the way. All tied up now in this game. It's all for the taking.
Yeah, you don't want to be feeding the Sprout super, so who can blame them from going in there, especially when he's got hypercharge as well. So back to just the norm with no Bell super this time, though, as he did just use it on Enraged before we saw the round end, and he'll be wanting to get another one of those to place on Refresh here because it allows him to have a lot more presence on that lane, and if Refresh gets hit once, he pretty much has to back all the way off. Little lollipop drop place on the left-hand side. Quickly dealt with, though, and this invis that Gero has is going to be very dangerous for pretty much all members, you know, except from RT, but it's hard for Gero to get across all the lanes without being hit. So, pretty dangerous to have this invis, really, for Foot Esports.
Yeah, exactly that, and especially as at the moment, Enraged hasn't got TP either, so he can't really get away from harm if Gero wants to go on the aggressive. Rama popping a gadget there as Invis and moving forwards as well. That might take Foot Esports by surprise here, but now, more savvy and attuned to it. Nice Walking Kane there. That eradicate the lollipop drop as Gary's Invis. Hypercharge from Naui. The time to go is now for Foot Esports. And Refresh falls. Rama's quick to follow as well. It's just Enraged. He finds one, but he's got so much to do here. It's going to be a lot of pressure on his shoulders to come back here. But I would love it. I would love it if he could do the unthinkable against the Walking Kane. But a wall, I mean, it's the face from Meow. And it's going to be really quite good composure from Foot Esports as they take a game back.
Yeah, really trying to push this to set number 5 here, and Foot Esports, they seem to be going about they seem to be going about doing that too, because they have played that very, very well. Just tried to really keep the Grey away, not give him too many TPs. Only got his hypercharge towards the end there as well, which he, you know, it didn't really do too much because it's only him, and he's TPing into 3 people 1v3, so it's not really going to do the most massive amounts. He needs his teammates to be able to use that TP, get those shields as well, and that's when it really comes into its own.
Well, reset. The gadget from Rama quickly forwards that Invis. Doesn't do too much more. I think Foot Esports is just always quite attuned to it, quite cautious around his strategy to try to employ it. Elementalist, that side of things, is what the gadget's name is. Try it, it's great in the game to really mix things up and keep your opposition on their toes. But at the moment, Foot Esports are bringing things back nicely to their winning ways. Touch from Meow though, forcing back on the left-hand side. And Rage lives to fight another day, but again, I think that Foot Esports are playing a much better control game. They tend to do this bounty, knockout. They're their best modes, in my opinion, on the side of Foot Esports.
Yeah, Rama almost got the kill, but now he is low, and Meow has the wall as well. Enraged, forced to back off, hit hard. We do see a nice little grey pull in there. It's not going to be enough for the Walking Cane. Refresh just trying to survive until the late game to be able to use these RT legs to the best of ability. Now they start to come in. Rugero's coming in so hard. 1v2 and Grigri was there as well. Bounce to the right hand side. Refresh is going to eat that shot, but the TP in from Enrage just trying to bring him low. And Juju will clean up the rest. Brilliance from Team Electros. They survive on, and that's going to be the round to them.
Oh, tense stuff around in Electros' pocket, but for esports still are looking the better of the two teams for me so far. Really putting Electros to the test. Again, this is Refresh's first monthly final. Can you imagine what it would mean to him if he's able to cause the upset that they're trying to achieve here on the side of Electros? Yeah, absolutely insane. Enraged third monthly finals, 15th for Rama, definitely the most experienced in this squad. But for esports now, starting to put their foot on the brakes a little bit on the momentum that Electros have been able to establish so far in this series. Take it back to the control game where for esports are most comfortable. Good connecting shots from Naui on the right hand side. The bell shots ricochet between Refresh and Rama as Enraged now under the heavy scrutiny of Meow on this left hand side and forced back himself. But starting to look much more confident now, Trap.
I mean, that bell shot literally bounced all the way to the right-hand side. Now the hypercharge comes in, a bit of extra speed. He's not going to be able to hit too many shots here. And the wall has pinned Rama on the right-hand side. Bounce round, and it makes a connection with Enrage, who bounces towards Refresh. Enrage going to go in 1v3 here, and he's not going to be able to do it. Surely not. Has the hypercharge, but no supercharge now. He wanted to go for it. Did feed the Leon a little bit in the end, but it's 1 round to 1. Foot Esports take it. It's even on 2-2. And if Team Electros do it, they're going to match point.
The pressure mounting, but for esports know that they can just get around here, buy some time, get a new draft, take it to the 5th and final set. It will relieve so much pressure, take the edge off and make it all level. Enrage has got the hypercharge, but no super to utilize. Meow's got his hypercharge. Rama has got a Grigri as well to hand, choosing not to bring it out just yet. And these supers of Refresh will be better served at the end of the game, but they've got to make it there at the moment. And the taps from Foot are great so far. Gary wants to get that invis, wants to go on the aggressive, but not being fed an inch there by Rama in the mid. So Enrage creeping forwards. Got Gadget as well to hand, choosing not to use it. That Walking Cane, if used at the right time, connecting, could put someone in a bad spot. It's going to be either Meow or Garo.
I mean, Enrage is desperate for a super, but all he's finding is sprout shots to the face. And now a wall will push him to the mid, and that's not going to be great for him. We might need Rama to come over and take this lane for him, but Grigri being placed on the right-hand side, he's just going to accept the bounces and try to get some damage in. Hypercharge from Gero being used, all pinned on this left-hand side, but the wall comes in now. Enrage gets hypercharge, but so many hypercharges on the other side. He gets one, is traded out the wall, keeping them apart. Refresh not making use of it. Rama gets, no, I was going to say one, but he didn't even get that. Foot Esports do manage to get it. They take the set. A little bit unfortunate there for Team Electros towards the end, maybe. Should have got a bit more out of that interaction, but Foot push it to a set 5.
Dodging the bullet big time for esports. Slight little corner smile from Gary. He knows it came close, but again, they are far from being out of the woods yet. It's going to the 5th and final set, but I mean, that was the most comfortable we've seen for esports look in this series, and I feel like it should have been much more easy from the get-go. Going all the way. I love to see it in EMEA.
Going all the way in this matchup between Foot and Team Electros. It's been very exciting, and one of the transformations we've kind of seen, thank goodness we have all 3 players on player cams for Foot, especially because we've seen the comms kick in. Wondering about the in-game leader, and wondering about some of the calls you've seen here.
Just intense. I mean, just a very intense match. And I've got to reiterate as well, going back to our predictions, right? I mean, welcome to the EMEA region, Celta, because this is what it's like. It's very tough to call. And when we get these breakthrough moments, like a team Electros coming through and really just demonstrating that they can hang with the big boys, I love it. I really do, because it just makes you realize that as every year passes in the BSC, you never know coming into the first show of the year what it's going to be like. Where is everyone stacked up to be? And you know, this is a really exciting thing, but the question now is, can they go all the way? You know, can they really seal the deal? Because that's where your experience comes in. And you know, on that front, Electros are lacking and behind in that regard, especially for Enrage and Refresh. I'm amazed. I'm so impressed impressed with their ability to hold firm and how well they're doing in that regard, because it's a scary prospect. It really, really is when you come into a monthly final like this and really trying to keep that composure in bay, make good decisions, stay calm under pressure against a team like FUT Esports, who have been really so established in doing the exact opposite against their opposition. So putting them to the test, it's really impressive to see, honestly.
Yeah, well, into the draft we go, or in just a split second, I should say. But FUT really had their backs against the wall there. A few rounds that maybe we should have seen Team Electros win, to be honest. But it did end up being that FUT win, and now we're on to Hot Zone, which is just another one of those modes that you kind of expect FUT to be able to come in and win convincingly. But I've got to shout out Rage again, because he's been playing unbelievable today on these aggressive brawlers. Playing the Grey in that one, we've seen him on the Melody as well. No matter when he's picking up these aggressive brawlers, they seem to be working in his favor when he plays them, and it's really strong stuff from him, especially getting 6 kills on the Grey in Knockout, and sadly his team didn't manage to see a result. Draft should be coming in very, very shortly, as the bans should start to sneak through, and Lou, Poco and Berry going to be the side from FUT Esports, and Berry, Griff and Amber. Nobody wanted to see the Berry, and I don't blame them after that Berry performance in Hot Zone for I'm calling it FUT Esports because he used to play for him. Team Heretics. Chaos on that was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's definitely getting nerfed. There's no doubt about it in my mind. It's just ridiculous at this stage.
I hope so.
It needs to be. It really does. Adrian, if you're watching, mate, I'm begging you. It's just so dominant, and I think absolutely. The double ban there, very much a necessity. Stu being the first pick is a great starting hand here for Team Electros. It's always a conversation on the pro circuit where players will say the power of a Stu first pick in Hot Zone, it goes a long way, and I think Rama was always very good with it when it came down to that brawler and this particular mode. So I'm excited. I mean, it could be anyone on the side of Electros playing it, but obviously Rama's name's to it for the moment. Let's see whether that is going to prevail as we find what else is going to be drafted in. Janet, first pick by FUT Esports. I don't mind it. Again, like I said, I would never have imagined coming into 2025 with Janet being a meta brawler, but it makes a lot of sense, and it is in that spot. And if you're watching at home as a more casual player, perhaps on ranked, and you're wondering why that is happening, give it a go. You might surprise yourself. The hypercharge now really elevating this brawler, no pun intended, although that's exactly where she's going to be heading with it. Just drops so many big high damage bombs on your opposition, but it's the ability to be mobile and steer yourself that's really quite key with that hypercharge. As Nita joins the bunch for esports, it's a bit of a tank deterrent. Probably my least favorite pick, honestly. It's quite an open map here, Trap. So I mean, that Nita, if they go with the wall break advantage on the side of Electros, it's going to be kind of a bit of a sitting duck.
Yeah, I don't mind it too much, to be honest with you, because when you get that bear, the Stew's going to be going nowhere except back to spawn. Like, you're going to have to run away or you're going to be killed. So it's going to be tough for him when those walls are up. Need to compete a wall better than pretty much anyone. So it's not going to be terrible. I definitely think they're going to have to utilize it and get control in the early game. But a Juju, again, great pick. So good for Team Electros to have that brawler, and especially on a map like this where throwers are useful anyway. Never mind it being Juju.
It's looking like a good draft, isn't it, for Electros? It really is so far. But let's see. I mean, they are lacking a little bit of range. I wouldn't mind seeing something like a Bell come into play. Just something to have a bit more of a big poking stick, really. Juju's going to be doing just that, but Stu's going to be lacking in range, melody, aggression. Not the longest of ranges, but certainly a product which can close the gap when it comes to range. So we saw already today it being played beautifully in Hot Zone by Lenar. Question is, can Electros do the same thing with it? So far, pretty balanced draft for the most part for me. They might struggle a little bit with this Nita Bear, this comp. That's my only concern. Brawlers like Melody, Juju, Stu, they're not going to really shred through a Bruce. Certainly not a hypercharged up Bruce either. So it will feed some notes to Melody, allow her to maybe just have something of a combination with a gadget or a dash, but Draco for esports not going to have any healing qualities behind it. That's my reservation with that one as well. Normally we'd see it in Hot Zone was paired with a Berry or a Byron, or just even a Poco. I wouldn't mind it. I could understand it, but they're really taking a bit of a risk by not doing so. So definitely some things to be said about the draft overall. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think the draft is... I really like what Team Electros have brought to the table, to be honest with you. I can see them doing pretty well against FUT Esports, but I think we've seen that FUT Esports, when their backs are against the wall, is when they perform the best. There's a lot of pressure on them here, because I know you said in one of the previous games, you know, you're kind of expecting FUT Esports to come in here and dominate. Team Electros really don't have that same pressure on them from that. So we'll see if that's going to be the case, and if FUT Esports are able to really make a big impact and not FUT Esports out, or if that's going to go the other way and FUT Esports will remain strong. Such a strong start from them, though, and just Meow alive, 380, and he's going to go down too. Team wipe for Electros.
Yeah, Spicy, already a fantastic start. All three members of Electros on that zone. In the middle, as now he brings in the Dragon's Breath to the equation, but not really finding much of a connection with anyone, but staying on the zone is what it's all about now. The last stand coming in, and Rama actually is able to survive it out on 80 HP, but he stays alive now, probably getting taken care of by Janet. 144 HP now. It knocks his healing, but it doesn't matter. His teammates came in, stayed on the zone, and they're approaching 50% now on the side of Team Electros.
I mean, this is just wild. Rama's going to weave in and out, has hypercharge as well, and down goes Nawi once more. We do have some form of control for FUT Esports, but how long is it going to last with Rama flanking all the way around the rear? Garo, no gadgets left either, and he's just going to dash straight through him a couple of times, get him down. Bear's going to be pushing Melody back, but those notes should deal with it pretty swiftly. And I have no clue how FUT are winning this.
It's looking so convincing on the side of Team Electros, but you're right, the scoreline does say a bit of a different story. Only about 8% in it as the hypercharged Janet. Look at the jukes, though. He is now connecting with Refresh, but not getting much value from the back of that hypercharge at all. It's now Naui coming in now with the Dragon's Breath, trying to find some connections, doing a decent job. But look at the way that Esports are balancing their time as well. Refresh juked that wonderfully well now. It's all tied up. It's so close.
Yeah, I mean, somehow FUT are winning this. I have no clue how. That was a great play to get some ground and some kills, but it's been pretty much all Electros, in my opinion, other than standing on the zone, and this is going to be a FUT Esports win. All three of them locking down. I mean, in comes Enraged, but too little too late with that kill, and that's going to be a FUT Esports match point.
Saying about the hypercharged Bruce not going to be working out well for the comp of Team Electros going into the game. Just see at the end, it's running away from it, not able to deal with it at all. And you know, that was the thing, which I feel like if Esports can get that even earlier this time round, it'd be more convincing. But I'm with you. Throughout that game, I thought it was Electros that were going to be, you know, having the objective more on their side than FUT Esports. So it's got a lot to be said about the aggressiveness of what we're seeing on the side of Electros. They've got to make sure that they translate it more into being on the objective. It's all great dancing around the zone, but you've got to dance within it.
Well, now he's going to go down. Did use a gadget there as well, but Rama's so low. Meow trying to find it, but he did kind of stop him from pinching and peeking there as he took a shot round the corner. Meow and Garo just locking down, trying to reset some healing, but Rama's not healing at all. He's just waiting for his opportunity to do something. He's pressing his shot button, his gadget button, anything but healing. But he should be able to get some Gassy heal back, but he's not making the move. Eventually did stand still for a bit, but that Janet shot will land directly on him, and that's going to reset it once more. Now the gadget from Naui coming through, and then just beefing up this zone. 57%, almost at 60 now, as Team Electros have barely stepped on.
They've got to shut this down. I mean, time has ticked so much down now, 62% already in favor of FUT Esports, and they're not done yet. Now the Drake are coming in, doing a great job of making some space, now taken care of. But it's down to Enraged and Roberts to really clear up the scraps, and they're doing just that. Gary jumps to the skies, leaves the zone, trying to find Refresh. He's able to juke himself around it and survive on, heal back up. They're bringing back for lost time, but FUT Esports are starting to creep forward, adding to their already established advantage to now 85%.
I mean, it's surely going to be done. Bear there as well, taking so many shots. Now he's going to jump into that dragon form and start breathing fire everywhere. 10% left, and every time they get kills, even if they get 3, it takes nothing for FUT Esports to bounce back onto that zone. Draco will come onto it now, and he gets everyone. That's 2% left needed, and Garo gets it done. FUT Esports hold on. The 2023 World Champions almost go out, but eventually managed to catch up with Team Electros and knock them out of the competition.
We're with you, Meow. We're all with you, mate. One way or another, whether it's tears for Electros or just the sigh of relief, we are all Meow. Oh my word. Who would have thought? Who would have thought would have an absolute banger like that to start out the quarterfinals of the EMEA region? What a commendable performance from Team Electros. They take a loss, but they absolutely won our hearts here today.
Yeah, you talked about wanting to come out to make a name for themselves, each of these players coming with something to prove to this roster. Do you feel like they've proved it? Do you feel like the other teams have stood up and taken notice of what they managed to accomplish here today, Trev?
Yeah, I mean, completely. I mean, we were looking at those stats as well, and me and Art were saying during the game, they've had the majority of control. They've been getting the kills, and we saw they had way more kills than what FUT Esports managed to get. But it was just the composition that FUT Esports had could lock down that point, and there was really nothing stopping FUT Esports from walking straight from spawn, even if they got triple killed, directly onto the zone, because they don't have any direct damage to keep them back, nothing to stop them, nothing to push them back. So it was just, all right, we've died, so what? We'll just walk straight back onto the zone and take it with force. It's, you know, the draft might have looked decent for Electros, but in the end, FUT Esports were very smart about it.
Yeah, they pulled it together there in the end, and as we take a look at the brackets, you can see the effect that this has had. A lot of our top caliber teams have taken today as a wake-up call. These underdog teams are really starting to shake things up here, and as we head into our fourth quarterfinal match, SK Gaming versus Papara Supermassive, I have to wonder, are we in for another shakeup here? We've got an exciting set of games ahead. And gentlemen, I gotta thank you so much for your great breakdowns throughout the cast. We're gonna go to a couple replays from that last head-to-head, and when we come back, we've got our fourth quarterfinal. We'll see you on the other side.